welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for this information session on the Supporting Survivors of Modern Slavery Challenge. This Open Innovation Challenge is powered by us here at MIT Solve, the HPE Foundation, and the Anti-Slavery Collective. My name is Mackenzie. I'm an officer on our economic prosperity team here at MIT Solve, and I'll be your guide today as we share an overview of the challenge, which will include information on challenge dimensions, eligibility, timeline, evaluation criteria, the application itself, and of course, the prize offerings. I also want to introduce my colleague, Rachel Drew, who is hosting the session with me here today. She is the lead on our economic prosperity team and has played a critical role in the design and implementation of this challenge. We're going to hold off on opening things up and answering questions until the very end of the presentation, so hold tight. Rachel and I will make sure we have plenty of time to address any of your questions that remain unanswered. And as a reminder, this session is recorded and will be posted on the Challenge FAQ page, so you will be able to refer back to it afterwards. All right, let us dive in. So to get started, I quickly wanted to familiarize you with the Supporting Survivors of Modern Slavery Challenge collaborators. First off, we have the Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Foundation, otherwise known as HPE Foundation. While the HPE Foundation began its independent operations in 2015, it has a long history of impacting communities, going all the way back to 1979 through initiatives as part of the former Hewlett-Packard Company Foundation. HPE Foundation has continued this tradition of community involvement and belief in being a force of good through collaboration with nonprofit organizations and providing grants to drive progress in 3 strategic focus areas, which include healthcare, community resilience, and diversity, equity, inclusion, and human rights. Alongside the HPE Foundation, we're also thrilled to be working closely with the Anti-Slavery Collective. The Anti-Slavery Collective was founded in 2017 by best friends Princess Eugenie and Julia de Boinville. Its mission is to eradicate modern slavery for an estimated 50 million people through its 3 strategic pillars of raising awareness, education outreach, and responsible business. And of course, if you're new here to MIT Solve, I also want to share a bit more about the work that we do. Welcome again. We're so happy to have you here. Solve is an initiative of MIT that launches open innovation challenges to find incredible social impact entrepreneurs that are solving our most pressing global challenges. We then work to bring these innovators together and connect them to a wide ecosystem of resources to help them drive lasting and transformational impact. We have been doing this wholeheartedly since 2015. What we're here to talk about today is one particular challenge, the Supporting Survivors of Modern Slavery Challenge. With this challenge and call for applications, we are looking for innovators, just like yourselves, who are really working to answer the question of how we can leverage technology to improve and scale resources for survivors of modern slavery and human trafficking. We are looking for solutions from individuals, teams, and organizations from around the world that are leveraging ethical technology to improve and scale critical resources. We understand that there is a lot of incredible work being done to target modern slavery and human trafficking, but with this challenge, we're less focused on prevention and more focused on seeking solutions that are working to support survivors. And they're doing this by bettering existing resources for legal, financial, physical, psychological, and social well-being. Solutions are improving access to and awareness of critical survivor resources. Solutions are strengthening the ecosystem of providers by enhancing efficiencies in communication, data collection and sharing, and coordination. And solutions are training and supporting existing organizations and agencies in ways to reach out to and appropriately work with survivors. We especially welcome and encourage AI-enabled solutions that can be, or solutions that can be transformed with AI integration. And we are especially eager to support and uplift solutions that are led by survivors themselves. To welcome this diverse portfolio of solutions, the challenge eligibility is quite broad. Outside of aligning with challenge dimensions, the only eligibility requirements are that you submit your application in English and that your solution is at least at the prototype stage or beyond. This means that you have an initial working version of your solution. We will not be reviewing concept stage solutions, which we define as an idea that's currently being explored and researched for its feasibility. So where are we right now in the Supporting Survivors of Modern Slavery Challenge timeline, and what can you expect as an applicant, a finalist, and hopefully a winner? We launched the challenge on May 1st, and it will close on July 1st, in a little less than a month at 12 p.m. noon Eastern Time. We encourage applicants to apply sooner rather than later, just so that if you're experiencing any technical difficulty during the submission process, you have the time to sort it out and ask for support from us if needed. Fully completing the application can take a bit of time. So if you haven't already, we encourage you to log in and begin the application drafting process just to familiarize yourself with the questions and ensure completion by the application deadline. From July through August, we'll move into the review and selection process. During this time, all submissions received for the challenge will be screened by our team here at MIT Solve to make sure that they meet basic eligibility requirements. All eligible solutions are then reviewed by our community of reviewers and then by the members of our expert judging panel, whose profiles you can view on our challenge page as they continue to be confirmed. Finalists will be notified in early August and guided by our team here at MIT Solve to prepare for and participate in a virtual pitch event and interview day Q&A. This will take place with that expert judging panel. The pitch event will happen in early September. The winners of the challenge will then be selected and announced at our annual flagship event, Solve Challenge Finals, on September 23rd, before kicking off a 6-month winner support program in October, which I will share some more information on shortly. So why apply to this challenge and what's in it for you? As a finalist of the challenge, you'll be invited to a virtual pitch event to present your solution to distinguished judges, as I mentioned. This is a great opportunity to connect with experts and increase the awareness of your solution. Winners will receive funding from a prize pool of $300,000 to further their work, with 2 grand prize winners receiving $75,000 each and 3 runner-up prize winners receiving $50,000 each. Challenge winners will also participate in a 6-month tailored support program run by MIT Solve. During these 6 months, participants will have access to a long list of in-kind resources that span across industries and sectors, executive leadership coaching, which has been highly regarded by our past winning teams, workshops aimed at refining your business model, theory of change, and/or plans for scaling, and most importantly, as a part of the winning cohort of Supporting Survivors of Modern Slavery Challenge, you'll have this built-in peer-to-peer network with dedicated spaces to convene, share challenges, and share knowledge throughout the duration of the support program, and hopefully beyond. During the solution review process, reviewers and judges will read and score applications on Solve's open innovation platform. Solutions will be scored on the following 7 criteria using a 5-point scale. Your solution will be evaluated on its alignment to the challenge dimensions, its potential for impact, its feasibility and its practicality, its innovative approach, its use of inclusive human-centered design, its scalability and financial viability, and its partnership potential, which really just refers to how the applicant sees themselves and their solution benefiting from the support and resources the challenge provides. So not only through the funding that would be received, but also through the support program as well. You can review these criteria in more detail on the Supporting Survivors of Modern Slavery Challenge. They're also accessible in our FAQ page. Great. Now let's talk a little bit about the actual application itself. The application has 4 parts: a solution overview and team lead details section, a more about your solution section on your team, and a section on your business model and funding. Some tips and reminders as you're moving through completing your application. You are not required to answer all of the questions in the application, and those required questions will only be in that first section, the solution overview and team lead details section. However, it is highly encouraged that you complete the entire application to the best of your abilities. Teams that fill out all of the questions and provide more color to their solution and the impact that it has are more likely to be selected. Again, reminder, your solution will not be considered if it's at the concept stage. And this is a big one. Your application will not automatically save for you, and your session will expire after 2 hours. So make sure that you are manually and consistently saving your application. We definitely don't want you to lose any of the work that you have put into your application. Another thing to pay close attention to is character, word, and file limits. The application will make a flag for you if you're not within those limits, and you will not be able to submit your application if those rules aren't followed. So you will be aware if you aren't within those limits. If you are having trouble submitting, this is likely a reason. So just make sure to scroll back through and look for any of those flags. If you plan on including a video link, which you can do with YouTube or Vimeo, please just make sure to set the setting on that video to public, just so that the reviewers who are looking at your application and reading through are able to actually click and watch it. Last note, within the application, there are questions that are listed as public and questions that are listed as internal use only. Once you submit your application, it will be publicly viewable on the challenge page on our Open Innovation platform. Those internal use questions only, those answers will not be shown publicly on our platform, which, for example, those questions revolve around contact information and demographic. However, the questions listed as public will. So please just make sure when you're answering those questions marked as public, that you're only sharing information that you're comfortable with being on our Open Challenge page. All right. We also encourage you to add your team members that you're working on the application with, or that are part of your solution, to the application. This will allow them to make edits, answer questions, and collaborate with you. To do this, they just need to create an account on the Solve platform, and then you can add them by going to Edit Application, Add a Team Member, and then you can just search for your team member there. And you should be able to add as many people as you need to the application. The application will have you determine who the team lead of your solution is. This should be CEO, executive director, or somebody else at the executive level who is responsible for the strategic direction of your solution. If your team lead is selected as a finalist, the team lead will be the one that is pitching the solution and participating in the Q&A with judges in September, and then eventually going on to complete that support program. To submit your application, you must complete all of the required questions, as I mentioned, and you must do so before the 12 p.m. noon Eastern Time deadline on July 1st to be considered for the challenge. If you do submit your solution before the deadline, congrats, we really, really love that. You are still able to go back and edit any of the questions in your application until that deadline on July 1st. And one more reminder that your solution will be publicly viewable on our platform. So just be mindful of the information that you're sharing as you're going through. And if you have any questions or technical difficulties as you're moving through the application process, you are welcome to reach out to our help desk at help@solve.mit.edu. And we and our team will work to support you and troubleshoot any of the issues that you are experiencing. All right, I just went through a ton of information at a rapid speed, so take a second to digest, but we are now going to open it up and answer any of those questions that you have. Since we have sort of a smaller group here, I'm happy to just open it up, ditch the Q&A port if people prefer to just open up the conversation instead. So go ahead and raise your hand if you have questions, or you're welcome to throw them in the Q&A if you're more comfortable with that as well.
Started typing, it was getting long. So we had a pilot solution, but it's been stagnant for a while because we had user testing, and then we thought it was good to go. It went out, and then users really struggled with it. And so due to funding, we couldn't really invest in addressing those issues. Is that okay in terms of it's not conceptual, but it was piloted and kind of been sitting there? Does that still qualify as still apply?
Yeah, I can pop in. Yes, that would, as long as there's intention behind continuing it or reviving it, just because it may have been kind of on a back burner for a little bit because of funding, because of human resources, whatever the case
Yeah.
might be, that's fine. And I would also make a note of that in the application. When you're asked, you know, what is the stage of your solution, there will be some kind of follow-up question about why did you select that? You know, what, tell us more about that. And you can just be very honest and explain that there. That's perfect.
Okay, great, thanks.
Awesome. Haley. Let's see, Haley, you are on mute, but if you come off mute, go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, there it goes. Sorry, I was unable to unmute. Thank you so much for this. It's been very helpful, Mackenzie and Rachel. I had a quick question about the 6-month support program. Sounds wonderful. I'm just wondering sort of what level of engagement that would require, and sort of what that looks like.
Yeah, that's a great question. So there will be more information given, but kind of a brief summary is that it will be about 6 months. So we'll select the winners of this challenge and disperse funding in the fall in September, and then the support program will kick off in October. So it will run October and then 6 months through about April or May. It'll be a kind of a mixture of executive professional coaching, so meeting with a coach that is determined between you and your coach. So that can be, you know, every couple of weeks or once a month, but kind of that single thing. And then there will be cohort meetups that will be virtual, and then some workshops. So I would say we can get back to everyone with the anticipated amount of hours, but it shouldn't be something that requires you to stop your other primary responsibilities with your work and your solution. So hopefully everything is additive. Anything that's required is there for a reason, and we hope it's worth the time.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Yeah, no problem. Let's see. We have some questions in the chat or the Q&A feature as well. Let's see. We have one that is asking, can you recommend resources for helping modern slavery survivors and prototype building? Yes, we have, I'll pop this in the chat right here. Okay, perfect. I just popped into the Q&A feature. MIT Solve does have a course that is all about business and impact planning for social enterprises. You might see it linked in some of the kind of help tips in the application itself. But if you are looking for more resources on theory of change, on business plans, take a look at that, and there's some good resources there. Another question, if we happen to be selected as a finalist, is there a date for the September pitch event? Great question. UNGA and Clinton Global Initiative are in September. Yes, we have another event in September as well. It is a busy month in New York City. The good news about the pitch event is that it's virtual, so no need to travel for that. We'll work with folks in their time zones. For the exact date of that, it is... Let's see.
Yeah, I can share that. Yeah, September 5th and 6th.
Yep, September 5th and 6th. If you are selected as a finalist, you'll be assigned to one of those 2 days. So it will be earlier in September. Perfect.
And I will just add in there, for your pitch, it will actually be pre-recorded. And that is something that you will record on your own time. So that can be at any time of the day that works for you. Hopefully that doesn't cause many issues with any other, you know, work and conflicts that you have in place.
Perfect. Yep. And then if folks make it to the finalist stage, Mackenzie will be on the front lines of finalist support for that. The one reason why we have folks pre-record their pitch for the finalist interviews when they're meeting with judges is one, to kind of level the playing field so that inevitably when there's some kind of tech hiccup or your internet goes out or something is happening in different connectivity regions of the world, we're all a little bit on the same playing field, and also to take the stress out of you know, a 3-minute pitch having to go perfectly on that specific minute of that specific day. So the pitch will be pre-recorded. And then after that plays, finalists will have a little bit of live Q&A time in the virtual setting with the judges. So that's the focus instead of perfect pitching. Let's see, we have a question about where can I find resources to better understand the problem, survey reports, interviews, etc. I would start on the homepage of the challenge itself. There are resources and citations that are linked throughout the description in the challenge. So I would start there, kind of just for a general overview of understanding why we're focusing on this challenge. And then we can certainly provide more as well. Let's see, we also have a question about, were there any college students selected as finalists in previous challenges? Great question. For this particular challenge, this is the inaugural year of this specific challenge with these partners, HPE Foundation and the Anti-Slavery Collective on this topic. So nothing was selected before. This is the first time we're running this particular topic, but in the past we have selected college students and high school students as finalists and as ultimate winners. Let's see, what kind of support are you giving during the application process? Are you pre-reviewing and providing support accordingly? Good question, Anna, thank you for support. So we're happy to answer any questions right here. We have the help desk that's available. Mackenzie and I are also available if there's specific questions about your application. If you haven't already made a user account on the platform or logged in to start taking a look at the application questions, most, if not all, of the application questions will have some kind of help tips in them, links to further resources to further refine answers to all of those questions. So that is part of what we hope makes the process a little bit easier. Is it okay for two organizations to partner on an application? Yes, that is fine. I think, yeah, if it is a kind of co-led application, that's fine. We'll probably have some questions at the end, you know, if that application makes it all the way through to one of the later stages, we'll have to talk more about who will be the representative for the solution, who will be, you know, pitching for that solution, etc. But I think the more the merrier in terms of collaboration. Yeah. All right, let's see if I've missed anything. Perfect. Great. Well, we'll hang on for a little bit and just see if there's other questions. I'll say email us if anything else pops up. If you are hearing the info session and you say, meh, maybe it's not quite the right fit, but you know someone who would be a great applicant, please spread the word so that we can get the word out to as many folks who are working on this crucial issue as possible. And for those who are starting applications or going to start applications, good luck to all of you. And we hope that you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks all.